Welcome to Softly Curious. This is a quiet place to explore how the human body really works. There is nothing you need to do. Just listen and let the information flow naturally. The human body is not built as a single unit. It is a collection of independent systems. Each one follows its own rules. Some react in seconds. Others take hours or days. Your skin renews constantly. Your bones change much more slowly. Blood cells live for weeks. Some bone cells can last decades. All of this happens at the same time. There is no central clock controlling it. Different parts of your body live on different timelines. Think of the body like a large city under constant construction. Some streets are repaired overnight. Others stay unchanged for years. Skin cells behave like daily street cleaners. They are replaced again and again. Bone tissue is more like reinforced bridges, built slowly, changed carefully. Blood cells move like delivery trucks, always circulating, always replaced. Each system follows its own schedule. No department waits for the others. The city works because nothing moves at the same speed. Your body replaces more material than you might expect. The lining of your gut renews itself every few days. Old cells detach and are removed. New ones take their place immediately. This constant turnover protects you from damage. Food, bacteria, and friction wear that surface down fast. Rapid replacement prevents small injuries from becoming serious. It is one of the fastest renewal processes in the body. Most people never feel it happening. Yet it is working every day without pause. Bone feels solid and permanent, but it is not. Your skeleton is continuously rebuilt. Specialized cells remove old bone. Others replace it with new material. Over time, nearly your entire skeleton is renewed. This process strengthens stressed areas. It also removes microscopic cracks. Without constant rebuilding, bones would become brittle. Strength comes from slow replacement, not stiffness. Your frame survives by changing, not by staying the same. Blood is one of the shortest-lived tissues in the body. Red blood cells survive for about 4 months. Millions are removed every second. Millions more are produced to replace them. This keeps oxygen delivery efficient. Damaged cells are cleared before they cause problems. The system works like a moving river. Nothing stays still for long. Flow, replacement, and removal happen together. Circulation stays reliable because nothing is permanent. The human body is built in layers that never developed at the same time. Your skin protects you from the outside world. Under it, fat cushions organs and stores energy. Muscle creates movement and heat. Bone provides rigid structure. Each layer solves a different problem. Together, they function like a multi-layered building. Outer walls handle weather. Inner frames carry weight. Hidden systems manage plumbing and electricity. Removing any single layer would collapse the entire design. The human body is not symmetrical on the inside. Your heart sits slightly to the left. The liver dominates the right side. One lung is smaller to make room for the heart. This layout is not random. Organs are positioned to reduce pressure during movement. It works like packing fragile items in a box. Heavy objects go where they are least likely to shift. Balance matters more than visual symmetry. Bones are not solid blocks of material. They are filled with microscopic tunnels and chambers. This structure makes them lighter without losing strength. Inside these spaces, blood cells are produced every day. Bones behave like reinforced scaffolding. Strong where force is applied. Hollow where weight can be reduced. This design allows you to move efficiently. Solid bones would be too heavy to function. Your body is built to leak heat on purpose. Blood vessels near the skin expand when you are warm. Heat escapes through the surface. When cold, those vessels narrow to conserve warmth. This happens automatically. Think of it like adjustable vents in a building. Open when heat builds up. closed when energy must be saved. Temperature control depends more on blood flow than on sweating. Your body is built to prioritize protection over efficiency. Vital organs are not placed for convenience. They are placed for survival. The brain is enclosed in bone and fluid. The heart is shielded by the rib cage. Even the eyes sit deep inside sockets. This is like storing valuables in the center of a safe. Accessibility is sacrificed. Damage prevention comes first. The human body is designed with built-in redundancy. You have 2 kidneys but need only 1. 2 lungs but can function with reduced capacity. Even muscles overlap in function. If one system weakens, another compensates. Think of it like backup generators in a hospital. They stay unnoticed until needed. Survival depends on systems you hope never activate. Your body is assembled for constant repair, not permanence. Cells are replaced at different speeds. Skin renews in weeks. The gut lining in days. Bone remodels over months. You are not made to last unchanged. You are made to be rebuilt continuously, like a road under constant maintenance. Closed sections are fixed before collapse happens. The human body is built to waste energy on safety. Muscles often activate more fibers than necessary. Movements are slightly inefficient on purpose. This reduces the risk of sudden failure. It works like using thicker cables than required. Extra capacity prevents breakage under stress. Precision is sacrificed for reliability. Your body chooses stability over perfect efficiency. That choice keeps joints, tendons, and nerves protected during daily movement. Internal organs are not fixed in place. They are suspended by connective tissues that allow movement. When you walk, organs shift slightly. When you breathe, they glide against each other. This flexibility prevents tearing and pressure damage. It is similar to shock-mounted equipment. Rigid mounting would transfer force directly. Soft suspension absorbs motion and protects delicate structures from constant impact. The body is built to sense damage before it becomes dangerous. Pain receptors activate early, not at the point of injury. Stretch, heat, and chemical changes trigger warnings. These signals force you to stop or adjust. Think of it like an early alarm system. It does not wait for collapse. It reacts to small changes. Most protective responses happen long before real harm occurs. The human body is built around fluids, not solids. Blood, lymph, and intracellular fluid move constantly. Only a small part of you is truly rigid. Even bone contains fluid-filled spaces. This allows forces to spread instead of concentrating. It works like hydraulic systems in machinery. Pressure is distributed smoothly. Sudden impact becomes manageable. A fully solid body would fracture easily under everyday stress. Your posture is maintained without conscious effort. Small muscles fire continuously to keep you upright. They adjust tension hundreds of times per minute. You never feel these corrections. Sensors in joints and muscles report position instantly. This system works like an automatic stabilizer. Tiny adjustments prevent large movements. Balance is preserved through constant micro-corrections you never notice. The body is structured to protect blood flow at all costs. If pressure drops, less critical areas receive less supply. Skin and fingers are sacrificed first. The brain and heart are protected longest. This prioritization is automatic. Like emergency power in a blackout, non-essential lights turn off. Core systems stay online. Survival depends on controlled distribution, not equal treatment. The human body is built to detect imbalance before failure occurs. Pressure sensors in your feet notice uneven ground instantly. Muscles adjust force before you lose balance. Your eyes are not the first system involved. Correction begins below conscious awareness. It works like a self-leveling platform. Small tilts are corrected early. Large corrections are rarely needed. Most falls are prevented before you realize you almost lost balance. Your body is organized around corridors, not open space. Blood vessels, nerves, and lymph travel together in bundles. This reduces exposure and damage. Sensitive lines are protected by shared pathways. It is similar to routing cables through protected channels. Scattered wiring would fail quickly. Bundling increases durability. Damage to one area rarely disrupts the entire network. The body is built to function under constant noise. Signals from muscles, organs, and skin never stop. The brain filters most of them out. Only sudden changes reach awareness. This prevents overload, like background hum in a city. You notice alarms, not traffic. Attention is reserved for deviation, not normal operation. Your body is built to anticipate force before it arrives. Muscles tense slightly before impact. This happens when you step down or catch an object. The signal comes from prediction, not contact. Nervous pathways estimate timing and load. It works like preloading a suspension system. Tension is added early. Shock is reduced. Injuries are prevented by preparation, not reaction. The human body is organized around shortest paths. Nerves and vessels take direct routes when possible. Detours increase delay and energy cost. Critical signals travel with minimal turns. This is similar to express lanes in traffic systems. Local roads handle minor tasks. Main lines stay clear and fast. Speed matters most where survival decisions are made. Your body is built to tolerate damage without stopping. Minor failures are isolated immediately. Inflammation walls off affected areas. Movement patterns adapt to protect weak points. You keep functioning while repairs begin. Like a ship sealing a flooded compartment, the mission continues. Total shutdown is avoided. Survival favors containment over perfection. The human body is built to store strength, not just use it. Tendons stretch slightly before transferring force. This stores elastic energy for the next movement. Walking and running reuse this stored energy. It reduces muscular effort. Like a loaded spring, energy is captured instead of wasted. Movement becomes smoother and more efficient over time. Your body is structured to limit damage during mistakes. Joints are shaped to restrict extreme angles. Ligaments tighten before harmful positions are reached. Pain appears before tissue failure. These limits feel restrictive, but they prevent catastrophic injury, like guardrails on a road. You only notice them when you drift too far. The human body is built to age unevenly on purpose. Some systems decline earlier than others. Strength fades before coordination. Speed fades before control. This keeps movement safe despite reduced power. Like lowering an engine's output over time. Performance drops. Stability remains. Survival favors control over raw capability. Biological systems are designed to fail gradually, not suddenly. Strength fades before structure gives way. Pain appears before damage becomes permanent. Fatigue limits force before tissues tear. This creates time to stop and adjust. Like small cracks forming in a wall, they appear long before collapse. Sudden failure is rare. Most limits are built to warn early. Living systems work best during movement, not stillness. Fluids circulate more efficiently when motion is present. Joints remain healthy through regular loading. Coordination is maintained through use. Extended stillness slowly degrades these functions. Like machinery left unused, movement is not optional maintenance. It is part of how the system stays functional. This structure is not optimized for comfort. It is optimized for survival across changing conditions. Protection, repair, and adaptation come first. Comfort appears only when conditions allow it. Discomfort often signals growth, adjustment, or healing, like a structure reinforced while still in use. Nothing here is meant to be finished. Staying alive depends on constant rebuilding. Here, we look at how control is shared rather than commanded from one center. Control does not come from a single source. Several systems adjust the same function at once. Heart rate is shaped by nerves, hormones, and local signals. None fully dominate the response. If one reacts too strongly, others reduce its effect. This prevents dangerous swings, like several hands steadying one object. Stability comes from overlap, not authority. Feeling tired does not mean energy is gone. It usually means protection has started early. Muscles still contain usable fuel. Output is limited to prevent damage. This signal appears before real exhaustion, like a speed limiter in a vehicle. The engine could go faster. The system refuses to allow it. Performance drops to keep structures intact. Breathing is not driven by oxygen levels alone. Carbon dioxide plays the stronger role. As it rises, breathing deepens automatically. This happens before oxygen becomes critically low. Control shifts without awareness. Like a smoke detector sensing invisible change, you react before danger is obvious. Breathing continues accurately, even without attention. Pain is not a measure of damage. It is a warning signal. Sensitivity increases before tissue failure. Stretch, pressure, and chemicals trigger alerts early. This forces adjustment, not endurance, like an alarm set far from collapse. It reacts to small deviations. Protection begins long before real injury occurs. Hunger is not a direct signal of emptiness. It reflects timing, hormones, and learned patterns. The stomach can be full while hunger persists. Blood signals drive the sensation more than volume. This prevents sudden energy drops. Like a scheduled reminder, it arrives before the problem appears. Eating is prompted early to maintain stability. Strength does not come from muscles alone. Timing matters more than raw force. Small muscles activate first to guide movement. Larger muscles follow once alignment is secure. This reduces strain and error, like assembling a structure from the inside out. Control comes before power. Precision protects the system during effort. Reaction time is often slower on purpose. Signals pass through filters before action. This prevents harmful overreactions. Not every stimulus deserves a response. Delay improves accuracy. Like pausing before replying to a message. The moment feels longer. The outcome is safer and more controlled. Feeling out of breath does not mean oxygen is missing. It usually means carbon dioxide is rising faster than expected. This change is detected within seconds. Breathing deepens before oxygen levels become dangerous. The signal arrives early by design. Like a pressure gauge, not a fuel gauge. It reacts to buildup, not shortage. This is why breathing discomfort often appears sooner than real risk. Coordination often improves as strength declines. As force capacity drops, control systems become more cautious. Movements slow slightly, but accuracy increases. This reduces the chance of sudden injury. The system trades power for precision. Like switching from speed to traction, you may feel weaker, but stability is actively preserved under changing limits. Many internal adjustments happen without sensation. Blood flow shifts constantly between regions. Digestion slows during movement. Skin circulation changes with temperature. You are not informed of most of this. Awareness would be overwhelming. Like background processes in a computer, they run continuously. You only notice when something truly deviates. Feeling cold does not always mean body temperature is dropping. It often reflects reduced blood flow near the skin. Warm blood is redirected toward deeper regions. Surface sensors detect the change immediately. The signal feels dramatic. Core temperature remains stable, like closing outer vents in a building. Heat is conserved where it matters most. Sensation exaggerates change to drive protective behavior. The urge to rest is not a sign of weakness. It is a coordinated slowdown across systems. Hormones reduce drive before energy is depleted. Reaction speed decreases to limit risk. Precision is preserved over output. Like lowering operating speed during maintenance, work continues, just more cautiously. This shift protects structure while recovery begins. Silence inside the body is rare. Signals never fully stop. What changes is what reaches awareness. The brain suppresses stable patterns. Only deviation passes through. Like ignoring constant background noise. Alarms break through, not normal operation. Attention is reserved for change, not continuity. Feeling weak does not always mean strength is lost. It often means force is being limited deliberately. Signals reduce output before structures are stressed. This happens under illness, fatigue, or low fuel. Capability remains, access is restricted. Like lowering voltage to protect a circuit, power still exists. It is simply held back to prevent damage. Internal timing matters more than conscious effort. Many actions begin before awareness forms. Postural muscles engage before movement starts. Eyes adjust focus before you decide to look. These delays are measured in milliseconds. Like automatic doors opening as you approach. You feel in control. Preparation already happened without permission. Recovery does not begin when activity stops. It starts while activity continues. Small repairs happen alongside use. Damaged components are marked early. Replacement begins before failure. Like fixing a road one lane at a time, traffic keeps moving. Maintenance and function overlap continuously. Stability often feels boring because it hides effort. Countless adjustments happen to keep conditions unchanged. When balance is maintained, nothing stands out. You only notice action when stability is lost. This creates the illusion of inactivity. Like a tightrope walker who looks still, most effort goes into staying centered. Success leaves no obvious signal. Internal limits shift depending on context. The same task feels harder when resources are reserved. Illness, stress, or cold change allowable output. The task did not change. The limits did. Like driving the same road with different speed restrictions. The engine is capable. The rules are temporarily stricter for safety. Many sensations are intentionally delayed. Immediate feedback would cause overreaction. Signals are averaged over time before awareness. This smooths behavior. Sharp spikes are softened. Like image stabilization in a camera, small shakes are removed. Only meaningful movement remains visible. Control often feels passive because it avoids extremes. Many systems work hardest to keep things unchanged. Heart rate, pressure, and temperature are constantly adjusted. These corrections happen in small steps. Large changes are avoided whenever possible. This keeps conditions predictable. Like fine steering on a straight road, tiny movements of the wheel prevent drifting. Smoothness comes from constant effort, not stillness. Signals inside the body rarely act alone. Most responses are the result of combined inputs. Chemical levels, nerve signals, and mechanical feedback mix together. No single signal tells the full story. This reduces error. One misleading input cannot dominate behavior, like multiple sensors guiding a landing. Agreement matters more than speed. Safety depends on convergence, not urgency. Perception is shaped by expectation as much as sensation. If a change is predicted, it feels smaller. Unexpected signals feel stronger. This bias helps prioritize attention. Surprises demand action. Expected changes can be ignored. Like background noise, you stop noticing. The sound is still there. Your system chooses not to react. Not every internal change is meant to be corrected immediately. Some fluctuations are allowed to continue on purpose. This reveals whether a change is temporary or meaningful. Instant correction would waste energy and create instability. Systems wait, sample, and compare. Only persistent patterns trigger action. Like waiting to see if turbulence passes. Overreacting to every bump would make the ride worse. Speed is often limited to protect accuracy. Faster responses increase the chance of error. Slower adjustments allow better coordination across systems. This trade-off is deliberate. Accuracy matters more than immediacy, like slowing down to place something precisely. Rushing increases mistakes. Control improves when timing is restrained. Many processes rely on thresholds, not continuous control. Nothing happens until a line is crossed. Below that point, signals are ignored. Above it, response increases rapidly. This saves energy and attention, like a light that stays off until the switch is fully pressed. Half signals do nothing. Clear decisions reduce confusion and unnecessary action. Balance is maintained by constant comparison, not fixed targets. Current conditions are checked against recent history. What mattered seconds ago still influences the response. This prevents sudden swings caused by brief changes. The system looks for trends, not moments, like adjusting volume based on average noise. Short spikes are ignored. Only sustained change leads to correction. Efficiency is often reduced to preserve coordination. When multiple systems must act together, speed is limited. This keeps timing aligned across different processes. Fast but uncoordinated action creates risk. Slower action allows agreement. Like musicians following a shared tempo, rushing one instrument ruins the piece. Control depends on synchrony, not haste. Most internal rules are flexible, not fixed. Limits expand or tighten based on recent demand. What felt hard yesterday may feel easier today. The structure adapts quietly through repeated exposure. This is not conscious learning. It is automatic recalibration, like adjusting grip strength without thinking. Change happens through use, not instruction. Limits often feel fixed because adjustment happens slowly. Changes accumulate over minutes, hours, or days. You rarely notice the shift while it is happening. Only the contrast becomes visible later. This makes adaptation feel sudden, even when it was gradual, like eyes adjusting to darkness. At first, nothing changes. Then detail quietly appears. The system adapts without announcing progress. Internal priorities can reverse depending on conditions. What is protected in one moment may be sacrificed in another. During stress, digestion slows to preserve circulation. During rest, repair takes priority over performance. The same resources are reassigned constantly, like rerouting traffic during an emergency. Efficiency is temporarily ignored. Survival depends on flexible allocation, not fixed rules. Most control systems are designed to stay invisible. If you notice them, something has already shifted. Smooth function leaves no signal. Only deviation reaches awareness. This creates the illusion that nothing was managing the process. Like a referee you never notice during fair play. Their presence is felt only during conflict. Stability hides the work that creates it. Internal behavior is shaped by protection, not performance. Systems do not aim for maximum output. They aim for safe continuity. Energy is often held back, even when capacity exists. Fast solutions are avoided when they increase risk. This is why effort can feel limited. The restriction is not failure. It is restraint used to preserve stability over time. What feels like control is negotiation beneath awareness. Signals interact and adjust rather than obey a single command. No process decides the outcome alone. Balance forms through constant correction across systems. Silence means agreement. Discomfort signals conflict that needs resolution. When everything works, nothing draws attention. Stability is maintained by limiting extremes and preventing any single influence from taking over. Here, we focus on everyday behaviors that seem unnecessary but serve specific biological functions. Yawning occurs even when oxygen levels are normal. It often appears during boredom, stress, or transitions between activities. The trigger is not lack of air. It signals a shift in alertness and muscle readiness. Jaw movement increases blood flow to the head. Breathing deepens briefly without urgency. Like stretching between tasks, the action prepares the system for what comes next. Some reactions feel instant, but timing matters more than speed. Sneezing does not happen the moment irritation appears. The system waits until pressure and airflow reach the right level. This delay makes the response effective. Eyes close, muscles coordinate, and air is expelled forcefully. Like pulling back before releasing a spring, the pause is not hesitation. It is preparation that ensures the airway is actually cleared. Certain movements repeat all day without conscious notice. Swallowing occurs hundreds of times, even without food. It clears saliva and protects the airway. Timing shifts with breathing and posture. This coordination prevents choking. You never decide when it happens. Like automatic lane corrections while driving. The movement feels minor. Its precision keeps vital pathways open and safe. Some responses look emotional, but serve physical stability. Shivering begins before body temperature becomes dangerous. Small muscle contractions generate heat quickly. They also raise alertness. This response starts early on purpose. Like turning on a heater before a room gets cold. Waiting would cost more energy later. The discomfort is not failure. It is early action to stabilize internal conditions. Sudden sighs often appear without emotional reason. They reset breathing patterns that have become shallow. A deeper inhale followed by a slow release rebalances airflow. This happens before oxygen levels become problematic. The action restores rhythm, not relief. Like tapping a reset button on a stalled system. Breathing continues normally afterward. The moment feels random. Its function is to restore efficient breathing without conscious effort. Frequent posture shifts happen even when sitting still. Small discomfort builds before damage does. Muscles adjust position to redistribute pressure. Blood flow improves as weight moves slightly. These changes prevent numbness and strain. You rarely notice the decision, like shifting weight while standing in line. The movement feels casual. It protects joints and tissues from prolonged stress. Blinking happens far more often than vision requires. Its timing is not random. Blink rate increases during concentration and fatigue. This spreads tears evenly and resets focus. Short interruptions prevent visual overload, like brief pauses while reading. Clarity improves after the break. The eyes stay comfortable and functional. Seeing well depends on interruption, not constant exposure. Scratching often begins before irritation feels intense. Light touch receptors amplify small signals early. This draws attention to the area before damage develops. Scratching increases local blood flow for inspection and repair. The urge fades once the area is checked, like tapping a screen to wake it. The action feels impulsive. Its role is early detection, not relief from strong discomfort. Sudden chills can appear in neutral temperatures. They reflect rapid changes in blood distribution. Surface vessels narrow while deeper regions are protected. The sensation arrives before core temperature shifts. This early signal prompts movement or layering, like a warning light before overheating. The feeling seems exaggerated. Its timing prevents larger corrections later. Momentary dizziness often follows quick position changes. Blood briefly lags behind gravity. Pressure sensors detect the drop and respond immediately. Heart rate and vessel tone adjust within seconds. The sensation fades as balance returns. Like fluid sloshing before settling, the signal feels alarming. It marks correction in progress, not system failure. Sudden yawns can cluster during quiet moments. This often follows reduced movement and steady focus. Neck and jaw motion briefly increase circulation upward. Eye muscles relax at the same time. The action refreshes coordination between vision and posture. like rolling your shoulders after holding one position too long. The timing feels awkward. Its effect restores alignment between alertness and body position. A deep stretch can appear without stiffness or pain. Muscles lengthen to recalibrate tension after inactivity. Sensors report position changes back to the nervous system. This updates internal maps of posture. The movement feels optional. Its role is informational, like recalibrating a compass before navigation. Accuracy improves before effort resumes. A brief pause in movement can appear during ongoing activity. This moment of stillness allows rapid internal checking. Breathing, balance, and vision realign with each other. The interruption lasts only seconds. Then motion continues smoothly. Like stopping briefly to regain footing on uneven ground. The pause feels unplanned. Its function is to prevent small errors from accumulating during movement. Frequent throat clearing happens even without illness. Mucus slowly changes thickness throughout the day. Small adjustments are needed to keep airflow smooth. A brief clearing action resets sensation in the throat. This prevents irritation from building unnoticed, like wiping a lens before it blurs vision. The behavior feels unnecessary. Its role is maintenance, keeping sensitive surfaces responsive and comfortable. A quiet shift of the jaw can occur during focus. Teeth rarely stay in contact for long periods. Jaw muscles release tension to prevent fatigue. This protects joints from continuous pressure. You rarely notice the movement, like loosening a grip before it cramps. The adjustment feels minor. It preserves comfort and function during prolonged concentration. A brief change in breathing rhythm can appear during attention shifts. Breaths become deeper or slower for a few cycles. This recalibrates carbon dioxide levels efficiently. The adjustment happens without conscious choice. Like changing pace while walking uphill, the shift feels incidental. Its purpose is balance, keeping internal chemistry stable as demand changes. A brief tightening of the stomach can appear during anticipation. This is not always anxiety. Digestive muscles adjust tone when attention shifts outward. Blood flow is redirected to support readiness. The sensation fades once the moment passes, like bracing slightly before lifting an object. The feeling seems emotional. Its role is practical, preparing the body for possible action. Small facial movements happen without expression or intent. Muscles around the eyes and mouth adjust tension constantly. This keeps skin, vision, and airflow balanced. Micro movements prevent stiffness and sensory dulling. You are rarely aware of them. Like tiny corrections while holding a camera steady, the motion feels meaningless. Its function is to maintain sensitivity and control. A light shift in foot position often occurs while standing. Pressure builds unevenly across the soles. Muscles respond by redistributing weight. This protects joints and maintains circulation. The change happens before discomfort grows. Like adjusting stance on a moving surface, the movement feels casual. It prevents strain from building silently over time. A brief tightening of the hands can appear during concentration. Grip strength adjusts even without touching anything. Muscle tone increases to stabilize posture and focus. This change happens quietly and fades on its own. You rarely notice the shift. Like lightly bracing before writing a careful line. The sensation feels unnecessary. Its function is to support precision during moments that require control. A short pause before speaking often happens without planning. Breathing, posture, and vocal muscles align in that moment. Timing adjusts to avoid strain and miscoordination. Words follow more smoothly after the pause. It feels like hesitation, like taking aim before releasing an arrow. The delay improves accuracy. Speech benefits from preparation, not speed. A subtle shift in eye focus can occur while staring at one point. Muscles change tension to prevent visual fatigue. Depth and clarity are refreshed without obvious movement. This protects vision during sustained attention. You remain unaware of the adjustment, like refocusing a lens by a fraction. The change feels invisible. It keeps perception sharp over long periods of use. A quiet swallow can happen, even when the mouth feels dry. Saliva is cleared to keep sensitive surfaces responsive. Timing adjusts with breathing to protect the airway. This coordination runs continuously without awareness. The action feels random, like clearing a narrow passage before it narrows further. The movement is small. Its purpose is prevention, keeping pathways open before discomfort appears. A slight lean forward can appear during listening. Neck and back muscles adjust to align hearing and balance. Blood flow shifts to support attention. The change fades once focus relaxes. You rarely notice the motion, like leaning in to catch a faint sound. The adjustment feels social. Its role is mechanical, improving sensory accuracy and stability. A brief change in walking rhythm can occur without obstacles. Stride length and timing adapt to internal signals. Muscles redistribute effort to avoid repetitive strain. This keeps movement efficient over distance. The shift happens early, like changing gears before a slope becomes steep. The variation feels unnecessary. It protects joints and coordination during continuous motion. A brief tightening around the eyes can appear during focus. Muscles adjust to protect vision from strain. Blink timing shifts to keep the surface comfortable. These changes happen quietly and resolve on their own. You remain focused on the task, like narrowing your gaze slightly in bright light. The adjustment feels subtle. Its role is protection, maintaining clarity during sustained attention. A small breath hold can occur while lifting or reaching. Pressure inside the chest stabilizes the spine. This improves control during precise movement. The hold releases immediately after effort peaks. You rarely notice it, like bracing briefly before opening a heavy door. The pause feels automatic. It supports alignment and reduces strain during action. A gentle sway can happen while standing still. Balance is maintained through tiny shifts. Sensors compare position against gravity continuously. Corrections stay small to avoid fatigue. The motion looks unnecessary, like keeping a pencil upright on its tip. Stillness is active, not passive. The sway prevents larger corrections later. A quiet exhale can lengthen during calm moments. Breathing slows to match reduced demand. Carbon dioxide levels settle efficiently. This eases muscle tone without signaling sleep. You feel settled but alert, like easing off the accelerator on a clear road. The change feels natural. It maintains balance as activity winds down. Attention can drift without external distraction. This happens when internal signals no longer require action. Muscle tone softens slightly. Breathing steadies into a predictable rhythm. The change feels like zoning out, like resting your eyes on a distant point. Nothing is wrong. The system is conserving effort while staying responsive. This quiet state prevents unnecessary tension during low demand. A small adjustment in head position often appears during listening. Neck muscles realign to balance vision and sound. Pressure shifts away from sensitive joints. This improves comfort without changing focus. You rarely notice the movement. Like tilting a screen to reduce glare, the adjustment feels casual. Its purpose is mechanical, keeping sensory input clear and strain minimal. These everyday behaviors do not seek attention. They resolve small imbalances before they grow. Nothing dramatic happens because correction arrives early. When alignment is restored, sensation fades. That quiet resolution is the goal. Like adjusting course by a few degrees instead of turning sharply. The work stays unnoticed. Stability remains. What feels uneventful is actually a system doing its job continuously, keeping function smooth without demanding awareness. In this part, we look at the quiet systems that keep everything running without ever asking for your attention. While you go about your day, background processes stay active. Small chemical messages rise and fall to keep timing aligned. Signals are checked, adjusted, and softened before you notice them. Most of this work stays invisible because it succeeds. Like background apps keeping a phone stable. You never open them. You only notice when something stops responding. Inside your body, priorities are constantly being rearranged. Energy, blood flow, and attention shift based on what matters most. This happens without any central announcement. If one area needs support, another quietly gives way. Nothing feels dramatic because transitions are smooth. Like traffic being rerouted before a jam forms. You keep moving without noticing the change. Balance is maintained by silent redistribution, not equal treatment. Some systems exist mainly to filter information out. Signals that do not matter are reduced or blocked early. Only changes that require action move forward. This prevents overload and confusion. Without this filtering, awareness would be constant noise. Like an email inbox where spam never reaches you. You only see what needs a response. Clarity depends more on what is removed than what is received. Repair often begins before damage feels real. Cells that stop working properly are identified and replaced quietly. This cleanup happens every day without sensation. No pain signals are sent when everything goes as planned. Problems are handled early while they are still small. Like fixing loose tiles before they crack. You never notice the work. Health depends on corrections that finish before attention is needed. Your body checks itself constantly without creating sensation. Chemical levels are compared with what happened moments ago. When a small drift appears, correction starts gently. Large reactions are avoided unless truly needed. This keeps balance without drawing attention. Like adjusting room temperature a little instead of sudden heat. Comfort remains because changes stay subtle. Stability comes from quiet correction, not dramatic response. Some internal systems are designed to wait before acting. Signals are briefly held to see if they fade or repeat. This prevents reactions to momentary noise. Only changes that persist trigger correction. The pause feels like nothing is happening. In reality, information is being checked. Like waiting a second to confirm a sound. Accuracy improves because action is delayed just enough. Extra capacity is kept in reserve rather than used immediately. Energy, strength, and focus are not spent all at once. What feels like a limit is often a safety margin. Reserves stay hidden until demand rises. This makes sudden effort possible when needed, like spare power kept off until lights flicker. You do not feel prepared beforehand. You discover the capacity only when it is released. Many adjustments happen by comparison, not by rules. Current conditions are checked against recent moments. Small differences guide the next response. This avoids sharp swings caused by brief changes. Trends matter more than single readings. Like smoothing a signal before acting on it. Stability comes from context, not strict thresholds. Balance is kept by watching direction, not snapshots. While you sleep, fluid slowly drains from the brain. Spaces between brain cells widen slightly at night. This allows waste products to wash out with cerebrospinal fluid. The process speeds up during deep sleep. You never feel it happening. Like rinsing a filter after the machine shuts down. By morning, buildup is reduced. Clear thinking depends on this quiet nightly cleanup. Your immune system constantly checks cells for abnormal behavior. Immune cells scan surface markers as they move through tissue. Cells that fail inspection are removed quietly. No pain signals are triggered when this works correctly. This screening happens every day, like security checking badges at a door. Most problems are stopped early. You only notice the rare ones that escape detection. Blood sugar is regulated minute by minute without awareness. After eating, hormones signal cells to absorb glucose. Between meals, stored sugar is released back into the blood. These shifts happen smoothly to avoid extremes. You feel nothing when it works, like automatic brightness adjusting on a screen. Energy stays available. Stability depends on constant invisible correction. While you move, tiny sensors inside muscles track stretch and tension. They report position changes in real time. This feedback adjusts force before joints are stressed. You never feel these corrections. They happen with every step and reach. Like stabilizers correcting a camera shake. Movement stays smooth because errors are fixed early. Coordination depends on signals you never notice. Kidneys filter blood continuously, not in cycles. Every minute, they adjust how much water and salt leave the body. Too much fluid is released. Too little is conserved. This balance shifts with temperature, activity, and intake. You feel thirsty only after changes have progressed. Like a smart valve adjusting flow. Internal balance is protected long before sensation appears. Body temperature is regulated by blood flow more than sweat. Vessels near the skin widen to release heat. They narrow to conserve warmth. These shifts happen many times an hour. Sweating comes later. You rarely notice the first response. Like opening and closing vents quietly. Comfort depends on constant circulation changes, not traumatic cooling. While you walk, blood flow is redirected with each step. Muscles that contract receive more oxygen instantly. Less active areas receive slightly less. This redistribution happens beat by beat. You never feel the switch. Like traffic lights adjusting to moving cars. Energy goes where work is happening. Efficiency depends on constant rerouting you do not notice. Salt levels in the blood are monitored continuously. Small changes affect nerve signals and muscle contraction. Hormones adjust kidney output to correct drift. Too much salt is released. Too little is held back. Taste does not guide this process. Like fine-tuning audio levels in the background. Balance is maintained before function is affected. Inside the gut, muscles move food forward in timed waves. This motion continues even when you are still. Speed changes depending on content and hydration. Signals coordinate sections so movement stays smooth. You feel hunger or fullness, not the motion itself, like a conveyor belt behind a wall. Digestion depends on steady movement you never sense. Every heartbeat is adjusted based on how full the heart becomes. Stretch sensors in the heart walls detect incoming blood. If more blood arrives, the next beat becomes slightly stronger. If less arrives, force is reduced. This keeps circulation matched to demand. You never feel the adjustment. Like a pump changing pressure automatically. Flow stays steady without conscious control. Inside your ears, fluid shifts help maintain balance. Tiny hair cells bend with head movement and gravity. Their signals update posture and eye position instantly. This coordination keeps vision stable while you move. You notice it only when it fails. Like image stabilization turning off. Balance depends on constant fluid motion you never sense. When you stop moving, repair processes quietly increase. Blood delivers building materials to stressed tissues. Damaged proteins are broken down and replaced. This begins within minutes, not hours. You do not feel repair starting. Like maintenance crews working overnight, recovery overlaps with rest automatically. Healing starts long before soreness appears. Your pupils change size constantly, not just with light. They also respond to focus, emotion, and mental effort. Subtle shifts improve clarity and depth perception. These changes happen many times each minute. You do not feel them occurring. Like a camera adjusting aperture automatically. Vision stays usable across conditions. Seeing clearly depends on quiet adjustments you never notice. Inside cells, damaged proteins are tagged and removed. Special enzymes break them down into reusable parts. This cleanup runs continuously to prevent buildup. When it slows, function declines quickly. You feel no signal when it works well, like taking out trash before it smells. Order is maintained quietly. Cell health depends on constant invisible housekeeping. Blood clotting is held in balance at all times. The blood is ready to seal cuts instantly. At the same time, it is prevented from clotting unnecessarily. Opposing signals keep the system stable. You never feel the restraint. Like brakes lightly engaged while driving downhill. Protection is ready without causing blockage. Survival depends on this careful tension. Your sense of thirst is delayed on purpose. Water levels in the blood are monitored continuously. Hormones adjust kidney output long before thirst appears. By the time you feel dry, correction is already underway. This prevents constant drinking signals, like a fuel gauge that smooths small fluctuations. Sensation arrives late. Balance is protected early without interrupting attention. Tiny valves inside veins help move blood upward. They open and close with muscle movement. This prevents blood from pooling in the legs. The system works best when you walk or shift position. You never feel the valves operating. Like one-way doors in a hallway, flow stays directed without effort. Circulation depends on mechanics you do not sense. Hormones are released in pulses, not steady streams. Short bursts carry clearer information to tissues. Between pulses, receptors reset their sensitivity. This keeps signals effective over time. A constant signal would be ignored, like blinking lights that draw attention better than a steady glow. Timing matters more than quantity. Control stays precise because messages come in waves. Blood pressure is balanced second by second. Sensors in major arteries track stretch with every heartbeat. If pressure rises, vessels relax. If it falls, they tighten. This happens whether you are standing, walking, or lying down. You do not feel the correction, like automatic suspension adjusting to the road. Circulation stays stable through constant invisible tuning. Inside the lungs, airflow is directed unevenly on purpose. Some areas receive more air than others. This matches airflow to blood flow precisely. Efficiency comes from imbalance, not symmetry. You never notice the difference. Like opening vents only where heat is needed. Gas exchange stays optimal because distribution is constantly adjusted. Nerve signals are insulated to prevent interference. Fatty layers around nerves speed transmission and reduce noise. Damaged insulation slows signals noticeably. Reaction time increases before strength drops. You feel clumsy, not weak, like frayed wiring causing delay. Precision depends on protection you never see working. Memory is quietly updated, even when nothing feels learned. Repeated actions strengthen certain pathways. Unused ones weaken over time. This adjustment happens during rest as well as activity. No conscious effort is required. Like software optimizing in the background, behavior changes before awareness catches up. Adaptation continues even when you feel unchanged. Many systems exist mainly to prevent extremes. They limit highs as much as they correct lows. This keeps internal conditions within narrow ranges. You rarely feel perfect balance. You feel problems when limits are reached. Like guardrails you only notice when touched. Normal function depends on boundaries you never test directly. These hidden systems do not aim to impress or stand out. Their goal is to disappear into normal life. When everything works, nothing asks for attention. Corrections happen early and quietly, before problems grow. That silence is success. Like a city running smoothly, overnight while no one is watching. You wake up and everything still works. Stability is preserved by constant work you are never meant to notice or feel. Every system has limits, but those limits are rarely sudden. The body is designed with wide safety margins that soften stress over time. What feels like a hard edge is usually a gradual boundary. Energy use slows before it stops. Performance narrows before it fails. Output is reduced to protect structure. This creates time to adapt instead of collapse, like dimming lights rather than cutting power. Stability is maintained by easing pressure, not forcing extremes. When food intake drops, the body does not panic. Stored fuel is released in stages. First, circulating sugar is used. Then stored fat gradually takes over. Muscle is protected for as long as possible. This shift can take hours to days. You may feel slower, not broken, like switching to a backup battery. Function continues while demand is quietly reduced. Cold exposure triggers layered responses, not a single reaction. Blood flow is pulled inward to protect vital areas. Muscles increase tone to generate heat. Skin cools while core temperature stays stable. These steps happen in order. You feel the surface change first, like closing outer doors before heating the center. Limits are managed by priority, not by force. When oxygen availability drops, adjustment begins immediately. Breathing becomes deeper before it becomes faster. Blood flow is redirected toward the brain and heart first. Less active tissues receive slightly less supply. You may notice mild pressure, not distress. This shift happens within seconds. Flow is protected by priority, not urgency, like narrowing lanes to keep traffic moving. When effort continues, output does not rise first. Movement becomes slightly smaller and more economical. Muscles release tension faster between actions. Inside cells, energy waste is reduced before force increases. This lowers strain without stopping activity. You feel steadier, not pushed. Efficiency replaces intensity, like dimming lights instead of cutting power. As activity slows, recovery starts before rest begins. Blood circulation shifts toward used tissues. Temperature and pressure settle step by step. There is no sharp switch between active and calm states. Systems ease down gradually. Nothing shuts off suddenly. Balance returns without shock, like lights fading instead of going dark. When oxygen availability drops, the change starts quietly. Breathing becomes deeper before it becomes faster. This allows more air to enter without creating urgency. Blood is redirected toward the brain and heart first. Less active areas receive slightly less flow for a while. You may notice light pressure, not discomfort. The shift happens within seconds, without warning signals. Balance is kept by order, not by force, like traffic narrowing lanes to keep movement smooth. Effort continues, but force is not increased. Movements become smaller and more efficient. Muscles let go of tension sooner. Inside cells, wasted energy is reduced first. Less fuel escapes as heat or friction. Demand drops without stopping motion. The feeling is steady, not pushed. Control remains silent in the background, like dimming lights to save power. Activity slows and recovery already begins. Blood flow shifts toward areas recently used. Temperature settles in small steps. Internal pressure eases gradually. There is no sharp switch into rest. The transition stays smooth. Systems avoid sudden change. Stability is preserved through easing, like lights fading instead of turning off. Balance is adjusted before it feels unstable. Small muscles activate earlier around joints. Pressure shifts toward the center of the body. Foot contact becomes slightly longer. This increases surface feedback from the ground. The brain receives clearer position signals. Corrections stay minimal and quiet. Movement continues without interruption, like soft springs absorbing uneven ground. Fluid levels are regulated continuously. Water is retained or released in small amounts. Salt balance guides where that fluid stays. Blood volume stays within a narrow range. This prevents sudden pressure changes. Circulation remains smooth and predictable. You do not feel the adjustment happening. Stability is maintained in the background. like valves opening and closing silently. Focus narrows as demand rises. Unnecessary signals are filtered out first. Attention is directed towards simple tasks. This reduces mental energy use. Processing becomes slower but steadier. Errors are avoided by doing less, not more. Clarity replaces overload. Control feels calm, not sharp, like dimming background lights to see clearly. Reaction speed changes before errors appear. Movements take a fraction longer to finish. Hands land more carefully. Steps place more weight before lifting again. This extra moment allows adjustment mid-action. Nothing feels slow. Nothing feels rushed. Precision improves as motion softens. Control stays steady under demand, like shock absorbers smoothing a rough surface. Incoming signals are reduced under steady load. Background sounds lose detail first. Visual edges soften before main shapes do. Less information is passed forward. Processing becomes lighter. Energy use drops quietly. Attention stays on what matters most. The environment feels simpler. Stability is maintained by filtering, like screens catching dust before it spreads. Heart rhythm shifts in small steps. Each beat pushes slightly less force. Flow becomes more even through vessels. Sharp pressure spikes are rounded off. Walls experience less strain. Circulation remains continuous. No sudden change is felt. Adjustment stays silent. Flow remains reliable over time, like pumps smoothing waves instead of creating them. Grip strength adjusts before objects slip. Fingers increase contact time on surfaces. Pressure spreads across more skin area. This improves friction without squeezing harder. Hands feel calmer, not tense. Control improves without added force. Small corrections happen continuously. Nothing sudden is required. Stability comes from distribution, like wider tires holding the road. Breathing rhythm simplifies under steady demand. Exhalation becomes slightly longer than inhalation. Air leaves the lungs more completely. This makes room for the next breath. Chest movement stays smooth. Oxygen exchange remains efficient. No sense of urgency appears. The rhythm feels regular and calm. Efficiency rises as pace evens out, like waves settling into a steady pattern. Heat control shifts before temperature feels high. Blood moves closer to the skin surface. Warmth spreads outward gradually. Sweat begins in small amounts. Cooling starts early, not suddenly. Core temperature stays stable. The change feels subtle. Comfort is preserved quietly. Balance is kept through early release, like opening vents before a room overheats. Posture adjusts before discomfort appears. Small muscles along the spine activate first. Weight shifts a few millimeters at a time. Pressure spreads across larger support areas. This reduces load on single points. You feel balanced, not rigid. Corrections stay continuous and quiet. No single movement stands out. Stability comes from constant micro-change, like a camera stabilizer smoothing motion. Blood sugar is buffered before hunger feels sharp. Stored fuel is released in small pulses. Uptake slows at the same time. Levels stay within a narrow band. Hands remain steady. Attention stays clear. Energy does not spike or drop. The shift goes unnoticed. Control comes from timing, not volume. Like drip irrigation feeding roots evenly. Eye focus adapts before strain builds. Blink timing changes slightly. Focus distance relaxes between glances. Muscles around the lens release tension. Light is processed with less effort. Vision stays clear without sharp focus. Fatigue is delayed quietly. Nothing demands attention. Comfort is maintained by small resets, like refocusing a lens without stopping the shot. Hearing sensitivity adjusts before sound feels tiring. Sharp tones are softened first. Background noise blends into a lower layer. The inner ear reduces signal intensity slightly. This protects clarity without blocking sound. Voices remain easy to follow. Nothing feels muted. Nothing feels loud. Comfort is preserved through quiet scaling, like lowering gain before distortion appears. Joint movement adapts before stiffness sets in. Range of motion narrows by small degrees. Ligaments experience less stretch at the edges. Motion stays centered and controlled. This reduces wear without stopping movement. You feel contained, not restricted. Flexibility remains available. Limits feel rounded, not abrupt. Protection comes from early narrowing, like guiding a door before it hits the frame. Sleep pressure builds long before exhaustion. Signals accumulate gradually across the day. Reaction speed eases before focus drops. Muscles relax more between actions. The body prepares for rest in advance. Nothing shuts down suddenly. Transition feels natural. Alertness fades evenly. Recovery is invited, not forced. Like daylight dimming toward evening. Thirst regulation adjusts before dryness is noticed. Fluid release slows slightly. Urine volume reduces by small amounts. Salt balance shifts to hold water longer. Blood volume stays steady. Circulation remains smooth. No signal feels urgent. The change stays subtle. Hydration is protected early, like closing small leaks before pressure drops. Pain sensitivity is tuned before discomfort spreads. Non-essential signals are dampened first. Touch stays clear while irritation fades. Thresholds rise by narrow margins. This prevents overload without numbness. Awareness remains accurate. Nothing is shut off. Control stays precise. Protection comes from quiet filtering, like noise reduction without muting the source. Coordination simplifies before fatigue disrupts timing. Complex movements are broken into shorter sequences. Pauses appear between actions. This allows alignment to reset. Errors are corrected mid-flow. Motion stays smooth. Effort feels manageable. Nothing collapses into clumsiness. Order is preserved by pacing, like spacing steps to avoid stumbling. Blood pressure is smooth before it feels high. Vessel walls relax by small degrees. Flow spreads across parallel paths. Peaks are lowered without reducing supply. Organs receive steadier delivery. No pounding sensation appears. Adjustment stays quiet. Control favors evenness over force. Stability is maintained continuously, like a pressure valve easing excess load. Digestive pace shifts before fullness feels heavy. Stomach emptying slows slightly. Signals between gut and brain soften. Absorption stretches across more time. This prevents sharp swings in energy. Comfort remains stable. Nothing feels delayed. Nothing feels rushed. Balance comes from timing, like a conveyor slowing to prevent jams. Memory recall narrows before confusion appears. Recent details are prioritized. Older or unused data is accessed less. This reduces search effort. Responses become simpler and faster. Accuracy improves by choosing less. Mental load drops quietly. Clarity remains intact. Limits are managed by selection, like a map showing fewer roads to guide direction. Fatigue signals soften before performance drops. Small pauses appear between actions. Muscles recover briefly during those gaps. Energy use spreads more evenly across groups. No single area is overused. Effort feels lighter without stopping work. The body buys time quietly. Limits are approached gently. Function continues without strain, like rotating tires to extend their life. Overall output begins to taper quietly. Speed reduces by very small margins. Movements stay accurate. Resources are spent more carefully. Nothing is pushed to the edge. No system shuts down. The pace simply narrows. Control stays intact. Limits feel gradual, not final, like easing pressure from a pedal. Adaptation completes without a clear endpoint. Systems settle into a lower demand state. Energy use stays efficient. Balance is maintained without effort. There is no signal of stopping, only a sense of completion. The body remains ready, not depleted. Stability holds across all layers. Nothing needs recovery yet. Like a machine idling smoothly after work. After limits soften and effort narrows, balance begins to return. Breathing settles into a slower rhythm. Heartbeats space out slightly. Blood flow redistributes evenly again. Systems release the need for priority. Energy demand drops across tissues. Nothing switches off. Nothing resets sharply. The body drifts back toward neutral, like a room slowly returning to its natural temperature. Muscle tone releases before rest fully arrives. Small fibers let go first. Larger groups follow gradually. Joints feel lighter without losing support. Pressure spreads more evenly across tissue. Movement requires less intention. Posture stays upright but relaxed. Nothing collapses. Control remains available, like tension easing from a stretched fabric. Chemical signals begin to quiet down. Stress messengers are cleared from circulation. Production slows before levels drop. Receptors respond less sharply. Internal noise decreases. Urgency fades without instruction. Focus widens slightly. Nothing asks for immediate action. Balance returns step by step. Energy flow shifts toward maintenance. Repair processes receive steady supply. Cells reduce output-related activity. Waste removal becomes more active. Fuel use stays efficient. No clear recovery sensation appears. The change stays subtle. Stability deepens quietly. Readiness remains available. Breathing depth evens out naturally. Inhales and exhales balance. Air moves with less effort. Chest movement becomes smaller. Gas exchange stays consistent. No breath feels urgent. The rhythm settles on its own. Calm replaces control. Baseline returns. Circulation releases priority pathways. Blood flow spreads evenly again. Hands and feet warm gradually. Pressure differences flatten. Delivery becomes uniform. No strong pulse stands out. Flow feels steady. Systems share resources again. Operation returns to normal. Attention begins to widen. Peripheral awareness returns first. Background sounds reappear. Visual detail fills in slowly. Mental effort decreases. Thoughts lose their sharp edge. Nothing pulls focus strongly. Awareness stabilizes. Cognitive load stays low. Temperature control settles into baseline. Heat production and release rebalance. Skin sensation evens out. Sweat activity slows. Core temperature remains steady. Comfort returns quietly. No signal marks completion. The system stabilizes. Control is no longer needed. Fluid balance stabilizes across tissues. Release and retention find equilibrium again. Blood volume stays consistent. Pressure feels even throughout. No thirst signal appears. No excess is detected. Adjustment finishes in the background. Circulation remains smooth. Baseline holds. Energy demand settles into a predictable range. Systems stop compensating. Margins widen quietly. Fuel use becomes steady. No process stays on alert. Readiness remains available. Rest is optional, not required. Stability feels natural, like an engine returning to idle. Heart rhythm evens out gradually. Intervals between beats become consistent. Force stays moderate. Blood moves without sharp peaks. Vessels experience steady pressure. No signal asks for correction. Circulation feels reliable. The pattern supports calm activity. Balance holds. Digestive pace returns to baseline. Movement through the gut becomes steady. Signals soften between organs. Absorption spreads evenly over time. No heaviness appears. No urgency follows. Comfort remains neutral. Processes continue without emphasis, like a conveyor resuming normal speed. Movement planning becomes simpler as demand fades. Actions no longer require advanced checking or correction. Muscles respond with familiar timing. Small adjustments happen during motion, not before it. This reduces mental load. Efficiency remains high without effort. Readiness stays available in the background. Baseline patterns quietly take control again. Sensory balance returns across vision, sound, and touch. Details are processed evenly instead of competing for attention. No single signal stands out. Filtering relaxes as incoming information becomes manageable. Perception feels broader but calmer. Awareness no longer narrows itself. The environment is taken in without effort. Balance settles through normalization. The neutral state holds without active maintenance. Energy remains available but is no longer being directed. Systems operate within comfortable margins. No alerts or corrections are required. Both rest and movement are possible at any moment. Nothing feels unfinished. Nothing needs protection. Stability sustains itself naturally. Breathing settles into a stable pattern without guidance. Depth and timing adjust together, not separately. Air moves efficiently with minimal chest movement. Gas exchange remains steady across cycles. There is no sense of control being applied. The rhythm supports both rest and light activity. Nothing pulls it faster or slower. Baseline breathing carries the system forward. Circulation completes its return to even distribution. Flow no longer favors specific regions. Pressure differences smooth out across vessels. Delivery becomes consistent over time. Hands and feet feel normally warm. No pulse draws attention. The system runs quietly at its usual setting. Stability is maintained without adjustment. Attention settles into a broad, usable range. Focus can narrow or widen without effort. Mental resources are no longer rationed. Processing speed feels appropriate, not driven. Thoughts connect without urgency. Errors are less likely because demand is lower. Clarity remains available. The state supports sustained calm function. As coordination returns to baseline, movements require less internal timing. Muscle groups begin to work together without separate preparation. Transitions between actions become smoother because fewer corrections are needed. This reduces internal resistance and lowers energy cost. Motion feels easier, not lighter. The system favors continuity over precision. Overall movement becomes more economical and consistent. Internal feedback settles into predictable loops. Signals arrive at a steady rate and remain proportional to demand. Because adjustments happen early, they stay small and do not accumulate. This prevents tension and sensory noise from building up. Control remains present, but no longer demands attention. Awareness stays clear while effort decreases. Operation continues without deregulation. At this stage, balance no longer requires monitoring. Resources circulate within a sustainable range. No system signals urgency or shortage. Readiness and rest coexist without conflict. The state does not feel passive, but it is not driven either. Function continues without direction or correction. This becomes the new neutral baseline. As systems settle, fewer adjustments are needed to stay balanced. Breathing, circulation, and posture no longer influence each other directly. Each one runs close to its usual range. Small variations appear, but they correct themselves without spreading. This reduces the need for coordination across systems. The body spends less effort just staying aligned. Stability becomes the default, not an outcome. Mental processing slows slightly, but not in a limiting way. Information is handled at a pace that matches demand instead of anticipating it. There is more time between signal and response. That space allows decisions to feel complete. Nothing is rushed forward. Nothing lingers longer than needed. Cognitive balance is restored through timing, not suppression. Energy use settles into a pattern that can be maintained without planning. Fuel is neither stored aggressively nor spent quickly. Availability stays even across tissues. This removes the sense of managing resources. Action feels possible at any moment. Rest feels equally available. The system no longer leans in either direction. Muscle tone stabilizes at a level that supports posture without effort. There is no active holding or release happening anymore. Support comes from balanced tension across groups rather than from any single area. This allows the body to stay upright or relaxed without adjustment. Nothing feels engaged. Nothing feels loose. The system holds itself with minimal input. Hormonal activity settles into its regular daily rhythm. Signals that were elevated during demand are now produced in smaller amounts. Clearance and release stay matched over time. This keeps internal messaging consistent. No signal dominates behavior. Mood and energy feel even. Regulation continues without conscious effect. The overall state becomes predictable again. Responses match situations instead of preparing for them in advance. Energy, attention, and movement align naturally. There is no need to check, correct, or compensate. This is not inactivity. It is readiness without tension. Balance remains available without being managed. Breathing, posture, and circulation no longer adjust in response to each other. Each system stays close to its own baseline. Minor fluctuations appear, then fade on their own. Nothing spreads across the system. This prevents small changes from turning into corrections. Stability becomes passive rather than active. The body stops supervising itself. Energy availability evens out across tissues. No area draws extra supply. No reserve is being protected. Use and renewal stay closely matched. This removes the sense of conserving or spending. Activity feels possible without preparation. Rest feels possible without recovery. Attention settles into a flexible range. It can narrow briefly, then widen again without effort. There is no background pull toward focus or distraction. Thoughts connect at a natural pace. Mental space feels usable rather than occupied. Nothing competes for priority. Clarity holds without direction. As balance settles, movement timing returns to its usual pattern. Muscles activate and release without overlapping signals, which reduces internal delay during actions. Corrections are no longer cued in advance. They happen only if needed. This makes motion feel direct again, not lighter, just cleaner. Internal feedback loses its urgency. Signals remain accurate, but they no longer insist on attention. The system responds only to real change instead of constant variation. Background tension drops because false alarms disappear. Control becomes selective, used only when it matters. Daily rhythms begin to line up across energy use, digestion, and readiness for rest. Processing speed slows just enough to match real demand instead of anticipating what might come next. Fuel moves through the system at a steady pace, so nothing accumulates and nothing is pushed through early. There is no need to manage intake, output, or timing. Comfort remains neutral. The system functions without asking for attention. As balance settles fully, systems stop checking on each other. Breathing, circulation, and energy use continue within familiar ranges without coordination. Small variations still appear, but they no longer trigger adjustment. This reduces internal activity that was only there to maintain control. Effort fades, not because it is removed, but because it is no longer required. The body holds this state without supervision. Nothing is being prepared for. Nothing is being avoided. After balance stabilizes, the body stops anticipating the next change. Systems no longer prepare for demand or recovery. They respond only when something actually shifts. Energy moves through familiar paths at a steady pace. Attention is free to narrow or drift without consequence. Movement can begin or remain still with equal ease. There is no internal pressure to choose one state over another. This is the phase where regulation becomes invisible again. Everything works, but nothing stands out. This is where the section ends. Not because something finishes, but because nothing else needs explaining. What you've been listening to is not a technique or a method. It's a description of a state the body returns to on its own. You don't need to keep track of it. You don't need to remember any detail. If you're awake, you can stay here. If you're drifting, you can let go. Either way, the system continues quietly.